Hello, this is Two Limes and a Lemon. Today we're looking at our third part of Hear Me Out, and let's get cracking, shall we?
Are we having theme music? Like, how do we? Is it just start with us talking?
Yeah, Dave's gonna do us some like a jingle, I think.
Dave.
Nah.
Danielle.
Two Limes
and a Lemon.
Hello. So I'm here with Natalie and Danielle. Say hello, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, and I'm Dave. I'm the host today, so I've chosen the film. But first, before we get into that whole breaking and shattering my favourite movie that everybody hates, I want to know what we've been up to this week. So this is looking at what you've consumed. So this could be a film, this could be a book, this could be pretty much anything you want. It could be a piece of food if you really like. But yeah, over to you guys. Who wants to go first?
I would first like to say I'm making a mental note that you just called this your favorite film.
It could be one of my favorite. Well, it used to be my favourite film.
Don't spoil it. People don't even know what it is yet.
Yeah. Could be an amazing film.
Who wants to go first?
Well, Danielle, go for it. Something about peacocks.
I've been watching a show on the streaming channel Peacock called Poker Face. It's like a weekly mystery show, and it was created by Ryan Johnson, who did the Knives Out and Glass Onion movies. So it has that same sort of feel. Natasha Lyonne is the main character, and they set up in the first episode this reason why she's never in the same location each different episode. And then they have like a mystery of the week with guest stars, and then she's the constant. And it's got the same sort of humor, and she's kind of a quirky detective, and so I really enjoy it. I don't know if you guys have any access to it.
Is it new?
It just started its second season.
What about you, Nat? What have you been doing?
I am going to go with playing Parlia on the PS5.
Sounds like a really fun game.
Deadpan.
Thanks. I know you hate it, but I like it. It just became... available on consoles. Beforehand, I believe it was only available on the Switch or the computer. So I had dabbled with it a little bit back then, but it's much better on the PlayStation.
Yeah, why? Sell it to me.
What? Sell it to you why it's better on PlayStation or why the game's good?
No, why it's good? Why is it good?
For me, I play a lot of Dreamlight Valley, but this one makes me... it gives me something else to do with, like, relationships. I know you have relationships in Dreamlight Valley with your various Disney characters, but for me, it's a bit more like Stardew Valley, where you have to, like, go and do things for people in the town and build up, like, proper relationships rather than just building relationships so they give you, like, presents.
True. All right. Okay.
I'm kind of curious why you're so down on it, Dave, because... Like, I just played an hour of it just to, like, figure out what it was, and the whole feel felt very similar to Dreamlight Valley to me, which I know...
That's my issue with it, because I've already got a game like it. I don't need to put the time in for another one.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I feel like sometimes I feel a bit like almost guilty because I'm wasting so much time on games about like making houses, and I've got my own house. I should be like tidying. So I do get what you mean.
Maybe Mickey will come in and tidy my room.
How about you, Dave?
Oh yeah, what have you been up to?
So I'm going to go with a PlayStation 5 game as well. I've been playing Sea of Thieves, which is mainly like an online big multiplayer, play with your friends kind of thing. But I've been kind of just doing it on my own this week on my little one-person boat. And it's a bit sad, but I've just been doing the fishing quests and just going to these different places.
No, that kind of stuff's relaxing.
Yeah, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do a bit of relaxing, just going to do some fishing. I managed to get those, and then like another player came over. I was like, great, so now I'm going to be dead, all my fish is gone. But he was like, hey, how you doing? He was from Hungary. We had a chat. He taught me how to get some new items and stuff, and then he went off on his merry way, and I waved him off, and then it was a proper little like, okay,
nice.
this was a nice... But then I played it early on this today, and I was just trying to deliver this one box, and I had this like big, massive like fire ship chasing me, shouting at me from afar. So this is the final kind of film for Hear Me Out. We'll probably come back to it at another point.
Yeah,
I think we will. This has been fun.
Yeah, I think this is definitely what a series we'll come back to.
100%. But this one we're going to end up. So I've written a little blurb for us. So this week on the podcast, we're checking into the creepiest mental institute Hollywood could conjure up in 2003. Where where doctors become the patients and ghosts are vengeful and the plot twists are like hallways in a haunted house. That's right, we're talking about Gothika. A psychological thriller where Halle Berry wakes up on the wrong side of reality and a possible murder. It's the movie I like, and even though pretty much no one else does, but maybe, just maybe, there's more to this misunderstanding thriller than meets the eye. Or maybe I'm possessed by a ghost with questionable taste in cinema. So, can you trust someone who really thinks you're crazy? We're going to check out Gothika.
Or we already have checked out Gothika.
Yeah, we're going to chat about it. I think it's great. It used to be. I used to watch this non-stop as a teenager.
You said you saw it 3 times at the cinema.
I know, right? I was like,
I'm surprised.
look at her walk weird down the corridor. So I really like the film. Those who haven't seen it, spoilers.
Oh yeah, spoilers, yeah.
Spoilers if you've not seen it. Go stop the podcast now. Go on some streaming device and find the film and give it a good watch and come back. But the main kind of things. So in Gothika, so those who don't really know, the little recap of it, it follows Miranda Gray, who's Harry Berry. She's a very respectful psychiatrist. Everybody's going to her. She's telling people, don't give them that amount of drugs, that tone down that. She's all in charge. She's talking to everyone. I feel like she's the boss, even though she's not the boss. She kind of knows what's going on. She's dating the boss as well. But anyway, so she gets accused of murder. She's married to the boss. So she's... That's how good. She's not just dating, she's married. But yeah, so on her way home, she sees a ghostly apparition, then wakes up and she's in the same psychic ward that she works in. So she gets accused for murdering her husband with no memory of the crime, and she's haunted by this mysterious ghost. And everyone's doubting her around her. She must unravel the deadly truth. You got Robert Downey Jr. playing her like uneasy colleague who's trying to help her out but is kind of not really listening to her. And you got the lovely Penelope Cruz as a fellow patient with secrets of her own. It's spooky. It's full of twists and turns. But I think that was my first kind of big horror at the cinema. That is the kind of film.
How old were you when it came out?
I must have been 2003, so I was 14. So is it a 12 or was it a 15?
Okay. If it's a 15, you're going to get called out for going underage.
What is it? It is a...
It's got to be a 15.
Yeah, because it's quite horrifying.
And there's also a naked shower scene, which we'll get to later.
It was R-rated in the US, so that's over 18, I think.
Well, it can't have been 18 here. It must have been a 15. When it came out, it was a 15.
There we go. I was like, there's no way. I still got in 3 times.
No, it says 15.
Yeah, there we go. Cool,
Just
yeah.
Dave wearing, like, on the shoulders of another kid with a trench coat over him.
I want to see Halle Berry. So, so why do I like it? Why? For me, it was. We won't go into the plot just yet, but for me, why I liked it was I think the jump scares really got me. I think it was the whole kind of like ghost and the special effects, the camera work was really amazing. That sort of drew me to it. So I really enjoyed it. What do you guys think of it?
I'll go first. So I have seen Gothika many, many years ago. I didn't really remember anything about it. I wasn't as enthralled with it. You said about her being a respectful psychiatrist.
Yeah. Not respectful, but like she knows.
Do you mean like
stuff.
respected?
Respected, yeah. She's respected.
Right,
Everyone
okay.
goes to her and they're like, because she's not really listening to. Is it Chloe?
Yeah, Chloe says, I was raped violently, and she was like, no, you weren't.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. She was literally like not a very good psychiatrist, I thought. Oh, right, she did have some ideas about, like, the medication was too high and things like that, which I thought, oh, okay, that's fair enough. But how she actually interacted with the patients, I felt quite jarring. I felt like, considering it was just, like, a one-on-one, like a woman and a woman, she kind of just, like, poo-pooed everything that lady was saying and was just like, no, that's not right, instead of being like, oh, well, why do you feel like that? Or, like, what you expect a psychiatrist in, like, movies to kind of use the language of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You also said it was like the creepiest psychiatry place in movies. For me, it was very like reminiscent of like Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Like her going down that corridor to Hannibal Lecter with like the glass wall and everything. It was very much like I felt like a little bit of like a copycat. And at the beginning when she's walking out from having her conversation with Penelope Cruz, I got that same, like, it was almost
She's
like a little
screaming at her,
nod
isn't it? Yeah,
to
yeah.
that scene. Yeah. Of her walking away with the cells on either side. But overall, I mean, I can see why, if you've not really seen films like that before and you were like a 14-year-old,
Yeah.
you would be like, oh wow, like there's a lot to take in, a lot going on. But from watching it now at my age, it wasn't my cup of tea. There we go. I'll make it really English.
I can agree that it is slightly dated in that sense of how it's when you're watching it. It feels like a TV movie now. But yeah, for me, I'm just thinking about nostalgia back at the time.
Yeah, of course.
It was very much like if someone who's not really watched a film before and or watched horror films that much, it's a good start to go with. Like, I didn't even see the ending coming when I was younger. I was like, wow, oh my God, he's a this, he's a that. Yeah, so it was pretty good.
How about you, Danielle?
So I agree with Natalie. I saw this years ago, and I think this came out with it was one of these first films by this production company called Dark Castle, and I remember liking those movies a lot. They, I think, generally weren't considered good, but there was something that kind of shared between them that I liked. So it was like the House on Haunted Hill remake and 13 Ghosts, and then I think this was like the third or fourth one. And it's called Dark Castle because it's like an homage to this 1950s, I think, 50s or 60s director William Castle, who was like the king of the gimmick. And so his films always had some little gimmick to get people into the theaters. Like there was this one called The Tingler, and one or a couple of the seats in the theater had like a buzzer on the bottom, so it would like shock people. And they, in House on Haunted Hill, they had like a skeleton that would like fly out at the audience. And so I thought like House on Haunted Hill and 13 Ghosts kept that sort of fun aesthetic, but this one felt super dark in comparison. But I remember really liking it at the time. For me, I agree.
Yeah.
It was kind of an interesting twisty mystery, and maybe as I've seen more twisty mysteries over time, it felt less original than it originally did. It's got the same thing that last week's movie had, which is that bad early 2000s CG, and they like overuse it in weird places.
Yeah.
Halle Berry had won the Oscar 2 years before, and then
did.
I think she forgot how to act coming to this film.
I think, to be fair, I think she went fully into it.
Okay, let me just finish my thoughts. I would like to specifically say the part of her performance I didn't think was believable was that she was a psychiatrist. Like, every time she's speaking science-y things, it sounded like she was reading it. Like, it sounded very uncomfortable coming out of her mouth.
I agree.
And then with the mystery itself, I thought there were a lot of loose ends. The biggest loose end for me is Gothika is never mentioned.
Yeah, I don't know what Gothika means.
And then the directing for me, like, I thought there were too many trick shots. Like, there were so many times the camera was like circling around people.
Yeah, that's what I thought was really good.
So many times that the camera was shot through the bars.
Do you know what though? Right at the beginning, before anything even supernatural happens, I think it's just before the lights are about to turn off in the psych place, there's a shot of her just sitting at the computer researching, and the camera is doing like 360s round her for like no reason. It's like building up like a tension, but there's no tension in the scene.
It's just showing like she's working hard. She's got stuff to do. I love that there's a swimming pool in the thing for people to, if you are a bit tired at work, I'm just going to go for a swim.
Well, I don't think that's what it was there for. I think it was for like water therapy for the patients.
Yeah, I thought it was like rehabilitation. Yeah.
I thought it was just like, oh, the staff can go for a swim after work if they want to.
Can we pause here for a minute? I'm suddenly remembering what the word Gothika means, and not having looked it up on my phone at all. It is it's an unofficial term that within the film is used to describe a purgatorial state of mind where someone experiences things unseen by others, potentially indicating a connection to the supernatural. It is a made-up term that they used for this movie but didn't explain. So, okay, that's a loose end for me. Okay, my review is done.
So I haven't really said why it's amazing other than just sort of label bits, but if we look at her acting first, I think Halle Berry, she does scream a lot, I will give you that. She does wail, a lot of wailing going on, and it's a bit but I feel like she does, I don't know, I still feel like it's a good performance in some areas. I feel like how she's trying to talk to Robert Downey Jr. and try and get him on side. I I can't. She hasn't really got like a. This is her character. She's kind of just Halle Berry in a horror film.
You know what I will say? I will say it showed what a good actor Robert Downey Jr. was, because when she, like, in those beginning scenes, I believe they had a flirt, like an honest flirtation. Like, I thought that felt very natural.
For me, her character was frustrating. I think that's the biggest word I could use to describe it. They made her act, for me, like just a stereotypical hysterical woman.
She did lose her shit all the time.
And they've kind of tried to establish that she's like a well-educated psychiatrist, and I feel like she'd have been able to explain the situation to colleagues and friends that she's known for years better than her just basically screaming and being like, I don't know. Like, she just...
But that's the thing. She got told so many times why she was like, no, you're hysteric. You're in here because you're mad.
But it was only supposedly 3 days since she'd killed her husband. And I'm like, if she...
And she had been catatonic those, like, 3 days.
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't... The first time they were able to speak to her is when we kind of pick up with her waking up.
So for somebody that they've known, they've obviously had a good friendship with, she's been catatonic, her husband's been murdered. My first thoughts wouldn't be like, oh, she's just murdered her husband out of spite. It's something has horribly happened to this woman. She's had to maybe defend herself, and that's put her into a catatonic state. And instead of her just being like, well, maybe that has happened, she's just like mad.
And punching too. Anytime they like try, like, you're going crazy, she's like wailing on people to, like...
Yeah.
She was possessed by a ghost. So when she's trying to explain...
At the time of the murder.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But when she's trying to explain that, when she's trying to figure things out... Yeah, she was angry she's in there. She doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know her husband's dead. She finds out. She just loses...
But these are her colleagues,
yeah,
too.
But...
She's in there... And, you know, she wakes up people that she's worked with.
In what they've got is just that she's killed them with an axe. And it's been pretty horrific what she's done.
It has been, but they've known her long enough that you wouldn't condemn her that quickly. You would be like, what the hell happened?
Well, that's why she's not in a jail. She's in the...
Yeah, but she might as well be in a jail because they're not trying to find out what's wrong with her and, like, her psyche.
However, I do agree, because they're, like, putting her into, like, a shower with all these other women when she's, like, clearly murdered someone, like, one day later.
Exactly.
And he's like, off you go shower with everyone. And they're like... But I do feel that Institute, the whole place... It is corrupt, though, isn't it, in a sense? Because there's people going in there, basically raping off the women that are in there. So as the Institute itself, it's not very good. No one's really following protocol that well. One massive example is the guy who's... She's like, see you later, Bob. I don't even know who's Bob. I'm calling him Bob.
Oh, no, my favourite character, you mean? Joel the guard?
And then he sees that was my main bit. I was like, but would he do that? So, like, the lights turn on and he sees her hiding. And he's like, take my keys, go. I'm like, hold on, you know that she's murdered someone.
We've skipped way ahead here, guys. This is like end of the movie stuff.
I know, but like that bit for me from him, I was like, oh, okay, that's my main unrealistic bit.
Oh no, he's my favourite bit about the movie.
He acted like a co-worker that was maybe like a little conflicted about what she had done, like compared to everybody else.
But he was great.
Yeah, exactly. He was the only one.
Take us further back when we first, we meet her in this very intense first scene with Penelope Cruz, who's got these like insane blunt baby bangs, and these are the things I notice in movies.
Yeah. Fringes aren't for everyone. That's what we'll say.
Yeah. And then we meet her in Charles L. Dutton, Doug. But like he immediately, I don't know, they don't tell you immediately that they're married, and I thought he was just being wildly inappropriate to her.
Oh, that open mouth kiss.
Oh yeah, he proper eats her mouth, doesn't he? Yeah.
That was a weird scene. I was a bit like, oh no, I don't like it. Also, in that same scene where he's like, look at yourself in the mirror and throw the water. I'm like, who's cleaning that up?
Yes. Well, I thought that was going to come back later on in the film, like she would look in a mirror, or something to do with water and the death,
and it would be distorted or something. Yeah.
But she does that, don't she?
No.
But it's just to show that like that's how she's looking at the moment, and it's not reality. It's more of a metaphor for the audience to understand what the patients are going through, and for us to be like, okay, so they're not seeing properly.
But he couldn't. They're two like trained scientists. Couldn't he have explained that without?
Yeah, she's been through all them years of like training, but she's like, oh no, the glass and water. That's finally clicked for me now.
I get it. But then I like that Bernard Hill's in it. I don't know what his role is.
I thought he was more of like a doctor role rather than a psychiatrist.
Oh, maybe. But he becomes he takes over Doug's role, right?
Yeah.
Because he's moving his office into his...
For me, I remember watching it, and then like when she's driving home, and so after she finishes the day at work and she's going home.
Oh, wait. And then we meet Robert Downey Jr., who I think is the best actor in this. Like, I think he's doing a fine job.
See, I said that Bernard Hill was. I felt like he was the least hammy of the acting in this. I felt like he made it kind of real because he had, like, obviously the daughter, which we find out about later. I feel like he was kind of like the heart of the piece almost.
But he wasn't very much in it.
No,
he's like, that was good for Natalie.
Oh yeah, Robert Downey Jr. And they leave, and he's like, "I'll follow you down the hill." And it's like, you're both leaving at the same time. Of course you're gonna follow her down the hill. Like, there's no other way out of it.
Yeah.
But it was all like, I'll escort you out. No, you're just on a road. We're both going the same way.
I will say, I felt like they were trying to make him seem like he could be the bad one.
I agree. Yeah, I feel like they were like falsely like getting you to get your back up against him, sort of thing.
I think the whole thing is kind of been like this. It had that running commentary of like all these men are sort of pushing down these women's thoughts and not listening to them in that sort of sense. I think that's the running theme of it all. Like, these higher up men are just sort of not really listening and accusing and just shutting them down a lot. So that, and like, even like Robert Downey Jr. is like, "Oh, I'll walk you to your car. Oh, here's your umbrella. Oh, you're supposed to be so smart. You haven't even got an umbrella." And like, and then, "Oh, I'll drive. I'll make sure you're safe getting home. I'll follow you back and just turn off at the last minute," kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's all very much like holding her hand throughout the whole thing when she didn't really need it.
I saw that more as their like flirtation, because it comes right after this really icky scene with her and her husband where they like, there's definitely like a weird power dynamic between them, and I don't know, he just felt creepy. And then there was like the dialogue between Robert Downey Jr. and Halle Berry felt a lot lighter,
a lot more natural.
Yeah,
more authentic. Yeah.
So I thought he was just making excuses to sort of be with her for a longer amount of time.
Well, yeah, he wanted to have pizza, didn't he? But she did turn him down.
So she drives home, and then that's when you have the crash. She sees a girl in the road just standing there crying, and then she comes over, and then the girl sets on fire again. Some more amazing turning around. Apparently they've got a track on this film of going around. Every scene is just a track and dolly shot going around in a circle. She sets on fire, grabs her, and then it goes straight into like her waking up. So I feel like as an intro, that was quite quick as well. It summed up her day at work in less than like 20 minutes, maybe less than 15 probably, and she's already woken up.
I mean, I could have done a little bit less time.
Yeah, but I think it was just like this is her role. These are the characters, and then boom, she's straight into the ward. In the psychiatric ward, panicked, stressed.
I actually thought that it had gone to like an alternate reality of the psych ward when I first woke up, because it seemed like before she had the accident it was really like dingy and dark and stuff, and then when she woke up in her cell it was like the glass cell, and I was like, did they have those before? Like, it looked like it had got a bit more high tech since she like had her accident, even though it was only meant to be like 3 days ago.
This is similar to like what I was saying about these other Dark Castle films. That glass cell really reminded me of that house that was in that 13 Ghost remake. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
And it's all just
I love that movie.
Yeah, me too. Like, I'm afraid, after watching this, I'm afraid to go back and watch it now, though, that I'll be like, oh, it doesn't hold up. But it's very stylistic, that glass cell she's in, where you can see the inner workings of the lock through the glass. Like, including like what they're wearing too. Like, I at one point I got very caught up in what was the uniform of inmates at this asylum, because at first she's in like a hospital gown, and then she looks like she's in a Gap ad. She's got like low-rise sweats on with like a white crop top. And then she had
it's
like
got a fashion show.
Yeah. And then she had like a gray cable knit sweater on at one point, but it was like an ombre gray, so it was like darker down the sleeves.
I actually didn't even notice any of the fashion choices. I did notice the gown, because I was like, she's been there that long, like, get her some clothes.
Oh, because that was very soon before, or was it after we got the shower scene?
I think it was before the shower scene.
But then, yeah, as the film progresses, yeah, do you want to talk about the shower scene? Because that's kind of what happens next.
Yeah,
the shower scene, I did put that's the only reason you saw it 3 times at the cinema.
Oh, yeah, these crazy people.
I was impressed that they chose like a cornucopia of female bodies, and like it wasn't all
I would agree.
super sex. I didn't end up looking this up, but I was very curious if that's how they act. Like they throw all of the criminally insane in one large room with like
shower time,
waterfall showers.
Off you go.
I feel like that's just asking for trouble.
Well, then, because that's the first bit when it happened. It says "not alone." That gets carved into her hand.
Right, yes, on her arm. It gets not alone, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, this is why I think this film worked, because of the different layers. The not alone has got like, it starts off thinking you're not alone because there's ghosts. There's a ghost here kind of thing. And then obviously it builds into the next bit when you're like, okay, it's not alone because there's one more victim kind of thing. And then, there's another killer. So the not alone thing is the constant twists of like, they're using that one simple sentence to just sort of build up on that, and you can make as a young audience member watching it, I was like, oh, I thought it meant that, actually it meant this, actually no, it means this, all along it just meant this, really it meant all three, but
yeah.
but
pick and choose.
Yeah, you can pick whichever one you want, but originally, at the end you find out there was two killers kind of thing at the end. But I thought like, the shower scene, and then she meets Chloe again, and Chloe's like, yeah, this is what it's like for us in here, no one listens to us, we're all crazy.
But I think Chloe. Wait, can we establish, like, Chloe is actually crazy, though. Like, she behaves erratically. Like,
no, she's just been raped every night by someone. She's like,
but that's not why she's not in the asylum, because, we find out later she's being raped every night. There was a reason that she's in the asylum, and then I feel like they picked her to...
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they picked her because she wasn't going to be a reliable person to be like, this is happening to me. Yeah. So I feel like they picked somebody they knew that nobody would listen to because she was already saying things that were far-fetched.
In the shower scene, I didn't understand why they immediately thought she had scratched it in her own arm.
I agree. They said that she tried to commit suicide. We don't usually try and commit suicide by carving letters in your arm. Like,
they were like, weren't they like, oh, by the way, how did the thing get in there? Oh, I don't know. It just happens sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, we're not going to do an investigation. Yeah.
They didn't find a weapon, though, did they?
No, I don't
did
think
they
they
just
did.
not say it?
No, they didn't. They didn't find anything.
Okay.
She was just scratched by it.
Because again, you've crammed like an entire ward of criminally insane people in a shower. I would first say, oh, maybe somebody attacked the new girl.
Well, yeah, considering she was their psychiatrist, yeah, and she's probably offended a few of them in her time.
Yeah.
But so as it goes on, the ghostly things start happening. She asks the spirit to like open the doors, and she gets to sort of... I don't know really what happens. I can't remember what happens after. It's kind of just a blur of like she's hanging out with Robert Downey Jr. Kind of like, if we were going to have an affair, would we? Yeah.
But she gets out and they find her that first time, because that's when they clothesline her. She's running down the hall and they clothesline her.
Yeah, she gets Robbie tackled.
And then they're like, something's wrong with the doors in the glass ward. We're gonna have to put you in the psych ward, and then you get one more notch, and then you're into isolation.
Oh, so then she escapes again. Is this the one where she has like a screwdriver which can do everything? It's like Doctor Who screwdriver. It smashes a lock, it jimmies open something, it picks a lock, it does everything, that one.
So I actually looked up about the tattoo because I was curious, because they mention it. It's an anima sola tattoo. And so looking up what it is, it's confusing to me why the guy, like the villain, has it tattooed on. So it is like a Catholic symbol, and anima sola means lonely soul, and it represents the suffering of souls in purgatory, and usually a woman in flames with chains that she's breaking out of, showing that her suffering is ending. So it made no sense to me why he had that tattoo. If it's sort of this like hopeful, like, yes, the woman is in pain and suffering, but it's this hopeful symbol of where, because of either divine or human intervention, she's being raised up from purgatory.
Because they think they're gods, don't they? Those two men, they're like, we're their gods. They kind of think although they're doing nasty things, we're gonna just do what we want with you because we're your salvation, and when really they're just abusing them.
He also had a gang tattoo around his belly button that said "Life is pain."
The ghost was like, as a ghost, I'm not allowed to just say, open the door, let's go out here. I can't tell you when the guards are gone.
But I can beat the crap
when you're
out of you.
underwater. But I can just scare you and throw you around, and that's the best I can do. Like when she's in the water, she's like, I don't know when I'm supposed to come up, and then she's like, oh, I tell you, rah! And you're like, oh, you can go up now. It's safe. So it's kind of like I'm giving you all these clues, but I can't do it in a nice way. I have to do it in a scary ghost way.
I didn't understand the motive, like what the ghost's agenda was. Like clearly she wanted.
It was just to try to find the girls.
Was it? Then why didn't she possess Halle Berry to go to like the FBI or to go to the farmhouse initially? Why was it, I will possess her to chop up one of these men so that she gets thrown into an insane asylum and maybe they will never believe her? Like,
so the ghost, maybe the ghost was just like, I'm vengeful and I want to get my revenge. Oh, now I've put you in this shit. Yeah. Then was like, oh, I better actually help you try and solve this.
Yeah, there's
thing.
still somebody stuck at the farmhouse. I suppose I better help them as well.
And there's another murderer here as well, so we have to.
This is actually very similar to the plot of What Lies Beneath, if I'm remembering that movie correctly, which is another ghost that possesses a wife of a husband that's doing something wrong and tries to tell her about it. Is it not just like the same story?
Very similar.
It's just slightly different. But again,
because I was like, I haven't seen What Lies Beneath in a long time either, but I was like, as I was watching it, I was like, I'm sure there's another movie that's literally apart, like the same as this, apart from the mental asylum part.
Full circle on our Hear Me Out episodes. The What Lies Beneath stars Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh yeah, from Grease 2.
But no, I did like the effects when she sort of realizes what she did to her husband. And then, like, you see the kind of cut with the axe on his hand, and then it cuts away. I think the special effects were quite cool.
There were moments, and especially the pool scene. That scene was, for me, the best scene in the movie.
Yeah,
like trying to keep the water still. You kind of like you feel like you're holding your breath alongside her down under the water, being like, "Is it feasible you could hold your breath for this long?" Like. It did have its moments of like tension.
Yeah, I agree.
She's like sneaking around and stuff, and she's got to get out. And then our best character comes in.
Joel, say MVP Joel. Like,
I reckon he knows what's going on in there. He's like, no, get out of here. Here's my car.
Yeah.
Go.
And then she automatically gets in the car and starts driving like a madman.
Yes.
And I'm like...
No, that's the ghost. The ghost
No,
does
not
that
straight away. Not straight away. She drives like an idiot. And I'm like, you're drawing more attention to yourself. You're trying to get out of here. She doesn't turn her lights on. Like,
well, there's this.
If you're trying to hide, you turn the lights on because it makes you look like just a normal car.
Yeah. There's this like huge truck that is going to drive perpendicular to her, and she like guns it, and there's nobody behind her.
Yeah, but you can't. That's the
reason.
ghost. That's the ghost. That's the ghost Danielle doing it. She tries to brake, but the ghost keeps saying go. So I don't know why the ghost is doing that, because no one's chasing her, but she's just like...
Yeah, I like, you're trying to make it more exciting, but really I'm just like, what are you doing?
just casually drive away,
Then she gets to her house, and all the lights are on.
She does.
And I put... Who turned all the lights on? The ghost? Is the ghost...
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Is the ghost paying for the electric bill?
I mean, as soon as Bernard Hill mentioned he had a dead daughter, who knew that it was going to be that she was the ghost?
Not when I was 14. Not when I was...
You didn't, okay.
Maybe I need to play this to my students and they could be like, wow, that was the best film I've ever seen. But no, so she finds out what's happened. She killed her husband. She knows it. And then she goes and finds out the truth.
Does she see a picture of the cabin, doesn't she?
And she puts her bloody fingerprint on it.
Yeah.
And that's how she figures it out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't understand. Like, clearly there's a picture of her and the husband, standing in front of the cabin. But then you get to the cabin and it looks abandoned. So I guess they didn't use that property.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They don't really explain that. I have one question for you guys on this scene. When she gets to, it's like Willow Creek or whatever, the farmhouse, she plays a video. Was that her in the video?
No. That's not her in the video.
No, that's not her. No, that's the girl.
So then they get to the sheriff's station, and is nobody else working at the sheriff's station? Is it completely...
Apparently not. Apparently the sheriff, is like the only one on call.
He sends them all home, doesn't he? Sends them away so he can confront Miranda, and sort of go like, oh, because he's so like, oh, we got to find out what kind of person it is. And
The thing is, watching it now, obviously the actor that plays Sheriff Bob is John Carroll Lynch.
Yep.
And I've seen him as playing like a serial killer character nowadays so much that I was like, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, it's going to be him. Because he's been in like American Horror Story and he was like in the Zodiac killer film. So you're like, it's him. But obviously back when Gothika came out, he hadn't done those roles yet. So it would have been a bit of a shock.
And then for some reason, they've got like a flammable gas pipe.
He's got his shirt off. He's like some sweaty, hairy old back hair man. I was like, ugh, gross. So here's my issue, right? Big climax at the end. She blows him up. He's on fire. He's like, Rachel, Chloe, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then burns, and she shoots him in the head.
Yes.
If the cops come home back to the
station, they're not going to see the tattoo.
There's no evidence.
Yeah, I agree.
2 people.
But we don't get any of that.
If anything, it looks like she was a part of that. No, we get Robert Downey Jr. turning up on the door going, you're right.
The scene ends there.
Cut to Chloe's out for some reason.
Like a year later.
Chloe's got a job.
I was very disappointed about the whole Robert Downey Jr. ending. Because I was like, why have you teased throughout, like, oh, actually, there is, like, a chemistry there. And, like, he finally believes her. And then I'm like, but we didn't get, like, closure of that relationship. Like, I wanted him to be like, oh, I'm really sorry I didn't believe you. Like, maybe there will be kind of, like hint, like, oh, there might be a future between the two of them now that her creepy husband's out of the way. But there was nothing. I felt like, like, that to me was, like, a cliffhanger of a relationship.
What I think happened is it probably ended in the one timeline. They tested it and people wanted some sort of like happy bow on it, everything tied up ending. And then they shot that last scene in some random city with Penelope Cruz and Halle Berry, and maybe Robert Downey Jr. was not available to film
Maybe.
Because that last scene was so tacked on. Chloe, who again I've argued throughout, it is somehow criminally insane, independent of being, abused in the asylum, and now she is
free, walking,
like completely.
She's got a new job.
Yeah, doing very well. And then for me, it was like the big twist at the end was just like, oh no, Halle Berry is like Haley Joel Osment in The Sixth Sense. She just sees ghosts now. And
then cut to the best song in the world. Behind Blue Eyes.
I just put, so now she's Ghost Whisperer.
I read some trivia that apparently there was planned 4 sequels to this.
Oh God.
Or...
Dave, I feel like you've been robbed.
I know, right? Well, to be fair, the film cost 40 million to make and it made 140 million, so...
Yeah, so they made their money back, but why did they then...
Tenfold.
So what did they say was the reason? Just like audiences didn't like it, apart from Dave?
Well, I mean, looking at Rotten Tomatoes, it had a 15% Rotten Tomatoes score, so I think it got generally panned by critics. I didn't check what the audience score was on it, but I don't know how... For older films, I don't know how reliable that is.
Gothika 2, Electric Boogaloo.
What's that? They're giving him electric shock therapy, like Return to Oz style. I felt like now her husband was out of the way, she should have taken over that psychiatry ward and made it a better ward, knowing
properly.
Full well now that she'd been a patient, I need to listen to my patients more. I need to sequel. Yeah, but that's another ending they could have gone with, but instead we just went with something completely random. It could have been like we've got with Robert Downey Jr. now, or we've made the psychiatry ward better, but no, it's just random.
I just remember seeing it at the ending when I was like watching it at the cinema, and then like, oh, there's a kid in the road, he's gonna get run over, and then he disappeared.
And then you see his missing poster.
And the missing, yeah, I remember like sitting next to my mates going, oh, that's the kid just now. Like,
feeling like a detective, like you've solved the mystery.
Yeah. For me, the at the time, looking at it now, I totally agree with you. It's so far-fetched. The acting is really over the top. She's like screaming all the time.
I feel like I so wanted to like her character. I so did, but I just couldn't. Because every time I was like, oh, maybe she'll do this, she just did the opposite of what she should have done and made it 10 times worse.
And it wasn't scary, yeah.
I will say, I noted that she looked gorgeous.
Oh, she did. Yeah.
Like, hair aside. Like, however they filmed her, her skin looked flawless. That blue light filter did her wonders.
But okay, let's look at our scoring system. But yeah, overall, I think camera work was good. I thought the moving around, going through things and going through glass and going through the rails, and that was really interesting. I thought it was shot really well. Highlighted how, I don't know, how easily women in horror films are disbelieved and then written off, and then in the end she's sort of like, no, I was right all along.
So who's your favourite character, Dave?
I think you guys tell me yours first.
Well, my favourite character was Joel Bogard, as I've stated previously. How about yours, Danielle?
I think I liked him best too, but again, I like I said, I didn't mind Robert Downey Jr. in it. I thought he did pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. My worst character I put as Miranda, which is the Halle Berry character. Just because I wanted to like her, but I just felt like they made her very stereotypical, what's the word? Shrill. Stereotypical shrill lady. Hysterical.
I think my least favorite was Doug, the husband, because he gave me such a like creepy vibe. I didn't much care that he got killed.
There you go. That's
good. Even though we only saw him for that one scene at the beginning as well. Yeah, he did do a good job of making himself unlikable.
Yeah, I'm glad he's dead now.
Yeah, I instantly, whenever like fingers were pointed at him that he might be like abusing people, I was like, oh yeah, that guy, he could.
That tracks, yeah.
Yeah. Dave, how about you?
I think, I like Robert Downey Jr. I think he was my favourite. And least probably was the annoying lady who like stomps around everywhere, who gives her the medicine.
Oh, the matron.
She's like, good girl.
I felt like she did try and help her at points, though.
Did she? I thought she was just horrible all the time. She was like, wash away your sins. She's like, wash away.
Okay, so overall ratings then.
For me, I'm going to give it, looking back at it.
Let's have Dave go last.
Okay, go last, okay.
So that we can give our lower ones, and then Dave can...
Oh, and he can bring the average up, which is one at the end. Well, I gave it 2 limes out of 5.
I gave it 2.5 lemons.
2.5? I'm going to say 4.
2.5, yeah.
4 out of 5.
The question I'm wondering right now, Dave, is how many times you're going to rewatch it now.
I would watch it again. Like, is it perfect? No, but it's moody. It's stylish. It's got twists that land. Did you see the twists coming? No. Well,
yes,
I did. I did see the twist coming.
But at the time, what about when you first watched it?
I can't tell you if I don't remember. It was so long ago. I don't remember if I saw the twist coming. But now it seems like it's just spelled out what the twist is almost.
I would have liked them to make it a little more ambiguous longer. Like, is she crazy? Is she not crazy?
Yeah.
But I felt like that kind of got resolved pretty... Oh, actually, for a while there, I thought it would have been nice if... Because they make this whole, like, statement about how overly medicated everybody is in this asylum. I thought that maybe somebody was drugging her to, like, see all this. Like, that's why she was seeing the ghost.
They could have done that better.
I thought that would have been an interesting...
They could have done, like, a whole... Instead of just, like, it's a ghost. They could have looked into the psyche a bit more and looked at, like, the ward and how people were treated and stuff like that. And
yeah, that's what I thought the moral was going to be.
Sort of like, no, it was ghosts.
But instead she left and was like, no, it was ghosts.
Ghosts are real. It should have been like, no, it should have been something else. But okay, cool. So that is our lovely, what's it, hot take?
Hear me out. One day you'll remember it.
One day.
Maybe next time we do it, you'll remember it.
So that was Hear Me Out, episode 3. I hope you enjoyed listening. I hope you enjoyed Gothika as much as I did.
We'll be doing a different season of movies next time. Are we deciding that now, or is that a surprise?
No, it'll be a surprise for next time. So, yeah, we'll see you cool cats later.
Cool cats, oh my god. Right, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, right, bye.